The katara is a type of push dagger from India. The weapon is characterized by its H-shaped horizontal hand grip, which results in the blade sitting above the user's knuckles. Unique to South Asia, it is the most famous and characteristic of Indian daggers. Ceremonial kata were also used in worship. Names Kata is also known as Tamil katari or kataval, meaning fist blade, Sanskrit katara or katari, Hindi or katari, Punjabi kata, Kannada kathari, Malayalam kataram, Marathi katyara. History. The kata originated in southern India, where its original name was Katari before being altered to Katara in the north. The earliest forms occur in the medieval Vijayanagara Empire. Kata dating back to this period often had a leaf or shell-like knuckle guard to protect the back of the hand, but this was discarded by the later half of the 17th century. Its development may have been related to the pata. As the weapon spread throughout the region, it became something of a status symbol, much like the Southeast Asian kris of the Japanese katana. Princes and nobles were often portrayed wearing a kata at the side. This was not only a precaution for self-defense, but it was also meant to show their wealth and position. Upper-class Rajputs and Mughals would even hunt tigers with a pair of kata. For a hunter to kill a tiger with such a short-range weapon was considered the surest sign of bravery and martial skill. For the 16th century onwards, kata were often made from broken sword blades. Even old imported European blades were used, especially by the Maratha Empire, and were riveted to projections from the hill. After India was colonized by the British, numerous kata were made for the European collector's market, which placed little value on functionality. Among these were the scissors kata with 2 or 3 blades that folded together, appearing to be one, until the handlebars were pressed together. When they opened out, these novelty weapons were popular among foreigners but were impractical in actual combat. For example, the blades couldn't be opened after they are thrust into an opponent's body. More importantly, if they were wielded with the blades open, all the force of the blow would have to be absorbed by the hinge pins at the root of the blades. In another modern kata design, single-shot pistols are built into either side of the weapon. In the 18th century, some traditional kata were refurbished with this innovation. The pistols are meant to deal the killing blow after the weapon has been thrust into the enemy. Like most combination weapons, the effectiveness of the pistol kata is doubtful. The kata ceased to be in common use by the 19th century, though they were still forged for decorative purposes. During the 18th and 19th century, a distinctive group of kata were produced at Bundi in Rajasthan. They were ornately crafted and the hilts were covered in gold foil. These kata were shown at the Great Exhibition of 1851 in Crystal Palace, London. Since then, the weapon has sometimes been mistakenly referred to in English as a Bundi dagger. Appearance. The basic kata has a short, wide, triangular blade. Its peculiarity lies in the handle, which is made up of 2 parallel bars connected by 2 or more crosspieces, one of which is at the end of the side bars and is fastened to the blade. The remainder forms the handle, which is at right angle to the blade. Some handles have long arms extending across the length of the user's forearm. The handle is generally of all-steel construction and is forged in one piece together with the blade. The blade, typically measuring 30 to 90 centimeters in length, is usually cut with a number of fullers. Most kata have straight blades, but in South India they are commonly wavy. South Indian blades are often made broad at the hilt and taper in straight lines to the point, and elaborately ribbed by grooves parallel to the edges. Occasionally the blades are slightly curved, making them suited for slashing attacks. Some blades are forked into 2 points, which would later develop into the scissors kata. The force of a kata thrust could be so great that many blades were thickened at the point to prevent them from bending or breaking. This also strengthened the use against male. All kata with thickened tips are commonly described as armor-piercing, but it's likely that only narrow and slender blades made this function possible. Such a weapon was capable of piercing textile, mail, and even plate armor. This quality was preferred for warfare, where an opponent was more likely to be armor-clad, as opposed to single combat. The Indian nobility often wore ornamental kata as a symbol of the social status. The hilts may be covered in enamel, gems, or gold foil. Similarly, figures and scenes were chiseled onto the blade. Sheaths, generally made from warted steel, were sometimes pierced with decorative designs. The heat and moisture of India's climate made steel an unsuitable material for a dagger sheath, so they were covered in fabric such as velvet or silk. Some kata served as a sheath to fit one or two smaller ones inside. Techniques. Because the kata's blade is in line with the user's arm, the basic attack is a direct thrust identical to a punch, although it could also be used for slashing. This design allows the fighter to put the whole weight into a thrust. Typical targets include the head and upper body, similar to boxing. The sides of the handle could be used for blocking, but it otherwise has little defensive capability. As such, the wielder must be agile enough to dodge the opponent's attacks and strike quickly, made possible because of the weapon's light weight and small size. Indian martial arts in general make extensive use of agility and acrobatic maneuvers. As far back as the 16th century, there was at least one fighting style which focused on fighting with a pair of kata, one in each hand. Aside from the basic straight thrust, other techniques include the reverse thrust, reverse flip, pierce, inwards side slashing, outwards side slashing, cobra coil thrust, and tiger claw pierce performed by jumping towards the opponent.